I will now call the hearing to order. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. This morning, I will be chairing the hearing. My name is Robert Hutchings. My other panel members are Ms. Rempel and Mr. McIntyre. Ms. Deacon will be will be the secretary for today, and Mr. Pohl will be representing the City of Winnipeg Assessment and Taxation Department. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rule in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will go over discussions of those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that the comparisons of assessment of properties are not considered evidence of market value by this Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application or exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with this Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following their swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicants may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. This session will close after all the applicants have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decision based on the evidence presented at this hearing today. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. As directed by Manitoba Health, we're requesting people avoid close contact within 2 meters with anyone showing symptoms of a respiratory illness such as coughing or sneezing. If you are experiencing flu-like symptoms, we are requesting that you excuse yourself from this room. If anybody, please note when you join the meeting with Zoom, all participants will be in the waiting room and your microphone will be muted until the host lets you into the room. You can watch the hearing live via the City's Board of Revision YouTube channel. When called upon, you will be allowed from the waiting room and permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once you have been heard, and you can continue to watch the hearing live via the City's Board of Revision YouTube channel. If any participants are currently watching the live meeting on YouTube, please mute your audio player now. Okay. So this morning, our first property on the docket, I just will deal with Colliers. Mr. Newbelt, please come forward. Michelle, could you swear in the parties, please?
Can you state your full name, please? Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right.
Hi.
Can you state your full name, please?
Roger McCall.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the
I
truth?
do.
Thank you.
Mr. Pohl, this will start with 1717 Waverly Street, Unit 500, BA roll number 39472. When you're ready, please.
There's a preliminary issue of requesting non-cooperation for Section 53.3b and Section 54.3.2 of the Municipal Assessment Act. So I can go through it quickly. If we turn page 5, there is a Board of Revision order for the realty portion of this property. It's owner occupied. It was asked for and received for the realty appeal. We're asking for that to continue on for the business assessment appeal. We have case law here from the from the municipal board that business assessment does indeed receive. So it's hard to focus on who I'm talking to on the screen.
You have to talk it a little louder.
Yes.
So basically, we have if it's a contentious issue, we have Manitoba Hydro order that indicates that business assessments do indeed get non-compliance. So if we have to get into it, I can. It's up to the panel and the appellant.
Mr. Cole, would you mind
So you can hear?
maybe expand a little bit on what
Sure.
you're referring to regarding the order?
Sure, I can hand it out. We'll go through the order first. That way it's just easier.
But the chair is not going to have it.
You'll have to explain it to your...
I can speak to it and you can listen. I'm not sure.
just summarize what you're referring to and from where, please. You can handle
I was
it.
part of a large appeal. I was a part of a large appeal on May 21st of 2019, which basically was for the hydro building for the business assessment. We were seeking non-compliance for that order. Point one of that order, they segregated it out to answer should business assessment receive non-compliance when it's an owner-occupied property. And after going through the analysis, point one, the board agreed that business assessments do and should receive non-compliance when there was a failure on the INE. So
Okay.
in this case here, I can go through it, but you don't have it in front of you. But generally speaking, it was such an important point that they answered the first point, do business assessments get non-compliance, and then went further into the appeal whether there was actual failure for that particular subject property. In this case here, that failure wasn't proven, but they already explicitly stated that business assessments do get non-compliance. So that was presented by myself and Kaylin Bombach, and for the appellant, for the respondent, I should say, Jamie Mercury and Rob Slaughter. So it should be well known to the panel. That's why, or to the collective of the Board of Revisions. So that's why I didn't really want to get into it, because I thought it would have been. It's an absolute. Yes, it does get it, and we move on from there.
Okay. Did you hand out that evidence to the panel members, or?
Not yet. The briefs are in, but this is a legal argument too.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. Do you want the legal argument submitted prior to as well?
Would the panel members like that copy?
Sure.
Yes, that would be good.
Okay.
Is that like?
Mr. Neufeld, I guess.
So for future reference, legal argument must be submitted in advance as well?
Well, even if you had it electronically, so I could email it to him right now, that would have been...
I don't have it on me right now.
Because there's no other item access.
No, I don't believe so. It's
Anything else, Mr. Cole, regarding the legal evidence?
no. I just wanted to know what your procedure was going to be for submitting legal argument. I guess in advance as well.
All right. Let's let Mr. Neufeld, any comments?
Where they answered it in full is on page 23 of the order, the last paragraph. After reviewing the applicant's legislation and consideration for the evidence and arguments presented by both parties, the board finds that deferral penalty provisions of the Act apply to business assessments in the city. So it's absolute.
Thank you. Mr. Neufeld, any comments?
I've just had communication with legal counsel, and they're asking for an adjournment to attend. This was received, I believe I got this notice at 9:01 this morning. Now, the board thinks that's fair notice. Surprise somebody with a request that he knows is improper. If you read the rest of the order, then you can go ahead. If you think justice needs to be served, I require an adjournment.
Do the panel members have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
One, okay. Okay.
Should we discuss it, Bob?
Yes. So I'm going to ask both parties to leave the room, please.
And what are you discussing right now? My request for an adjournment?
Yes.
Just the request for adjournment?
Yes.
Thank you.
Unless you'll have to leave too. Sorry.
I will now call the hearing back to order. The panel has discussed the fact that the legal argument was, or the municipal board order was only presented to the appellant at 9 a.m. this morning. So it is our opinion that this appeal at 1770 Waverly Street, Unit 500, should be adjourned to allow the appellant to have proper representation, legal representation, to deal with the legal issue. So we will adjourn 717 Waverly Street, Unit 500. Thank you. Okay, next property on the docket is 1717 Waverly Street, Unit 520. And maybe I'll ask you right now, Mr. Cole, regarding the other two properties here. Are we going to have the same circumstance here where the municipal board order is going to be presented?
No, this is just the first appeal.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, please proceed, Chairman.
Business roll number or ID number is 24148. The total annual rental value is for $274,440. The total area of the premise is 16,134 square feet with a total ARV of $17.01 applied to it. You look midway down the page, our base ARV rent is $14.56 a square foot. We of course put our costs onto that as well. Our total occupancy cost is $39,528 for again the total value of $274,440. If you look at the next page, on page 2, we can see that it is a dealership, and it's the same dealership argument that we presented for multiple cycles now, where there are no car dealerships that rent. We can't get any rents because there simply aren't any. So we look to the next nearest comparable, which is the retail argument, large box store type properties, steel shell buildings, slab on grade, minimal construction. So if these property owners were to be looking to go out into a marketplace, into the marketplace and get a retail location of similar size, similar utility, the base entry level would be what we would see on page 3. So we would see our comparable list of other retail locations, steel shell buildings, slab on grade construction. And we see that we have an inventory of 27 comparables, roughly 500,000 square feet of inventory. We have an average rent of $18.86 a square foot, a weighted average of $18.05 a square foot, and a median of $18.29. That is a very tight analysis. It's a very good analysis. So we're saying that this marketplace would be the next similar to the subject. So if they were going to go out and occupy a building of similar size utility where they would sell in a retail location, these are the rents that they would be putting in place. This is what owners would expect to get from them as a tenant. When we go back to page 1, we're giving our model generated $14.56 a square foot. So we are under market as far as that. So at $14.56, I feel comfortable that that's a base ARV rent that would be attained in the marketplace if they were actually occupying and not owner occupied, or renting and not owner occupied. So, with that, I'm open to questions.
Thank you. Mr. Neufeld, any questions of the assessor's evidence?
Yes. Was this property taken into Board of Revision on the realty?
Yes, it was. It's on the last page. Page 4.
And did the city appeal this decision?
No, we did not. It is appealed by Colliers, 2020.
And did you work out what that number was? They said they adjusted the net operating income and applied a capitalization rate of 7.25.
Yeah.
Were you able to calculate what that worked out to?
No, I did not, because I don't agree with that, with the order. I believe that you'd be able to get at least $14 a square foot for this building.
If you don't agree with the order, why didn't you appeal then?
It's not my decision to make a municipal board appeal. I'm here at appeal for this appeal.
I've heard.
I reviewed the order. I reviewed the marketplace. We have numerous 2020 appeals for VCDs moving forward for the city, for the city, the assessment taxation department. But I've also done an analysis on the marketplace. I don't believe that you would get below $14.50 for this property, so that's why I didn't lower it.
I've heard from close to 100 properties so far this tax year where there was a Board of Revision decision and the assessor said, even in cases where they disagreed with it, that they were following through on this. But you're saying that you're not doing it in this case.
It's individual in every single case. I've looked at this property. I've looked at this property type class. I've looked at the arguments that will be presented forward when we go to appeal at the municipal board. I do not believe a $14 rent is reasonable.
Now, when you say you do not believe, you're saying this is your personal belief?
I believe I'm quite clear on this. I've done an analysis on the marketplace.
I asked you,
You
is this
see it on the page.
your personal belief, yes or no?
$18 is reasonable.
Personal belief, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when it came to originally assessing this, you talked about some hardships on finding rents and the concept of looking at retail and industrial. Was this your personal undertaking?
We've looked for owner-occupied rents. I've sat on numerous appeals for numerous cycles for VCDs. They're virtually always owner-occupied.
Was this your personal undertaking, or is this the model?
Repeat the question, please.
The concept of looking at a mix of industrial and retail rents, is this your personal undertaking, or was this the way the model was generated?
This is my undertaking to analysis of the marketplace. If you're asking me how the model was projected or how the modelers modeled and what rents they chose, I'm not here to defend their criteria. I'm here to look at the marketplace. I'm here to look at other similar properties and put my opinion of value on it,
Okay.
as I've done for numerous cycles.
So let's just be clear. You're saying that the preparation of this role, I don't understand here. The initial preparation of this role was done by the model? Is that correct?
Modelers prepare the rule.
Okay. And your personal undertaking after the fact was the approach that you presented us here, as well as your opinion on ultimate values. Then, is that correct?
As I would at any appeal.
And are you acting independently?
I'm acting for the city of Winnipeg.
No, are you acting independently in your calculation of an opinion of value?
Of course I am.
Pardon me?
I'm acting independently on every appeal.
Okay. So this is your own personal opinion of value?
Every single time I'm assigned a property, I put my own personal value on it. I don't have management tell me what I should be putting on it. Is that what your line of questioning was getting to?
Just wondering if this was your own personal... I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of valuation, but when a person puts forth an opinion of value, they must claim it to be either their own or somebody else's work. So I'm just wondering if it was your work.
It's pretty clear I've been answering your question.
Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neufeld. Ms. Ruppel, any questions of the assessor?
No, I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre.
I just have one. What portion of the building is dedicated to showroom/retail and offices?
We have one economic unit in place. We don't segregate out different areas anymore. It's just the one unit. If you're looking for a breakdown and
Between the garage and...
how we used to have it all segregated out. We don't do that anymore. We couldn't put individual rents on it because they don't lease that way. There are no leases to put that. It didn't make any sense at one point. So when we're looking at something like this, it would be similar to what, like I said, a large box store would rent for, and that's the market price.
Okay, thank you. Those were my questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Brent. Mr. Pohl, just one clarification on the Board of Revision decision from on your last page in your brief.
Yeah.
The decision, would you mind reading the decision, please?
The decision is based on an adjusted net operating income and a capitalization rate of 7.25.
Okay.
So getting into what it was or what it wasn't, I'm looking at the marketplace as a whole. If I agree with the order, if I can make it generally work the numbers backwards, I may agree with it, I may disagree with it. In this case here, I disagreed with it.
No, that's okay. You don't have
And I
to
couldn't come
defend
back
it.
to what it was.
My question is, when a board makes an order saying adjusted NOI, that doesn't necessarily target the rental. It could be the expenses that were adjusted.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So-
So there's many components of that NOI that could have been revised when the board made that decision.
Correct. On any given
Correct.
on any given property type class. In this case here, there's small vacancies, so
Yeah.
pretty much I would think the lion's share.
So I have an objection here. I think, with all due respect, Mr. Hutchins, you are leading him, and you were sitting on the board.
Pardon me?
You are leading him to answer the question, and you were sitting on the board.
My screen is frozen here, so, well, I sit on many boards. so
No,
I'm not gonna remember.
I think the question was a bit leading, and in many cases, I don't think we mind that, but you were sitting on the board. And as to what your mind was at the time, we're all interested to know what that is, but I think he should just answer the questions. And I think that was a bit leading.
Well, no, I would have asked you the same thing, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I thought I'd deal with right up front where we're dealing with a business assessment that's targeting the rental value. So when a decision is presented, or a board decision is presented, we don't exactly know that the rental value was adjusted. That's all I was getting at.
Okay.
Okay. And I would have asked you to, Mr. Newfeld, but figured we'd get it out of the way here. Okay. And that's my only question. Okay. Mr. Newfeld, when you're ready, please.
Thank you. Oh, is it my turn or was?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was asking questions and.
No, I
already have.
That was fine.
He's the
Okay.
last one to ask.
This is fairly simple. The case was heard at Board of Revision. I have the documents in front of me. The decision was rendered an adjusted net operating income and a change in the capitalization rate. On page 3, we worked it backwards. Now, a question as to what was changed in that rate. If the board wished to address the issue of non-recoverables or vacancy or shortfall, it's the expectation that it's explicitly stated that that was also adjusted. I think it's fair to take an inference that it flows to the rent, because in my experience, I probably have seen a handful of changes on vacancy, and that's only when a chronic issue is involved. And I don't think I've seen maybe 2 changes in shortfall rate. And the non-recoverables, which were a very major issue of contention in the realty hearings, would require a clearer statement. In that case, it would say applicant's income, not adjusted income. That's the inference we take. Our analysis of it, it comes up to $13.08 per square foot, and we've just extended that to reach a value of $250,560. Now, we don't agree with the value either, and we've asserted our rights and have brought it to the municipal board because there are many issues in here that have to be reviewed. And but that's what was ordered, and I don't expect the board to turn over their own decision. If we want to appeal the subsequent decision at 1308, that's our business. If the city wants to appeal it, it's their business. But it's been said and heard. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cole, any questions?
Yes, I do. This isn't a condo unit, is it not?
That's correct.
You turn over to your, and just to be clear, it's owner occupied.
That's correct.
There's no rent. There's no other rents in this condo development. Arm's length owner.
I'm not entirely sure. There are some arrangements that I can't comment on, but not for this subject.
Can you please turn to your page 4 and 5s? You have industrial rates and you have auto-related rates. Which ones are you using here for comparison?
Neither. We're using the order.
And the order was based on these exact same comparables.
No, I don't know what the order was based on. I didn't make the decision.
So today you're here today with no evidence of actual marketplace?
No, we have market evidence here. It supports our claim. Obviously, we have rents on page 4 and 5.
Well, that's why I was asking you, are you using these to support your claim, or are you just standing alone on the order?
We are standing on the order and using the rates as support.
Okay, so let's get into the rates. Which rates are you using, the industrial side or the auto-related side? The $2, $4, $5 rents, or the $7, $9, $11 range?
We're using, first of all, we're using these rents for a much lower value, not $13. And the rents that we had brought forward were on the top of page 5. There's a series of rents that we had looked at. And on the industrial side, we were looking at page 4 for rents that would refer to the industrial portion of this, the body shop.
So let's get into the auto-related rents then. How many of these are actual full-service dealership rents versus older dealerships that no longer are full-service dealerships that are just selling used cars?
Well, define full service.
Are they franchised? Services, or the franchise dealerships?
What does a franchise matter?
Are they a Mazda? Are they a Honda? Or are they simply other brand names, no brand names associated with it, and just simply used car sales lots?
There are
Occupying former and older buildings that were or may have been full services 20, 30, 40 years ago. And now those dealerships have moved on to primary locations.
There are 4 here that were new car manufacturer retail outlets.
So would you say that these comparables that you're showing here has the same utility as the subject property? Economic utility, site utility?
I think that 3 of the 4 represent good utility, and the 4th is a bit on the small side.
Which 3 of the 4?
The 3636 Portage, 2150 McPhillips, and 1700 Waverly.
$1,700 Waverly is owner occupied. That is McNaught. McNaught. I've had it under appeal a number of years with Altus. They're every year represented as owner occupied. It's the primary building on that, primary PC on that development side. Are you saying that this is an actual rent?
Well, I think Jim Gauthier owns it, and McNaught rents it.
So you're saying there's an arm's length relationship there, or is there a...
Wouldn't call that owner occupied. And I think there were some changes subsequent to this rent.
So when Altus appeals this, and it's been done numerous years, I've handled it numerous times when they're claiming it's owner occupied, and they're represented by the owner, you're saying that's wrong?
Well, I'm not here to comment on somebody else's testimony. That's like ask me to comment on the length of a unicorn's horn. I don't know. Someone else says it's real.
3636 Portage. Who's the tenant?
The tenant was River City Ford.
And River City Ford is owner occupied. I've had that under appeal numerous
They
times as well.
were renting from Ford of Canada for a period of time and ended up acquiring the site.
So they're owner occupied. So these two rents
subsequent to the rent.
Who is the tenant at 3680 Portage?
Oh, that's a used car dealer. That wasn't one of the four I mentioned.
Okay, so what was the last remaining one?
2150 McPhillips.
21. And who's the tenant there?
It was, got to remember this, because the source of this material was actually the city of Winnipeg, who on one of their briefs put it in. It was a 3-year term. I believe it was for Nissan.
I remember that specifically, and I believe the assessor was Kevin Bright at the time who handled your appeal that you claimed it said it was. This is not owner-occupied, or this is owner-occupied. There is no rent there. Do you have any evidence to show that it's contradictory to that?
It's the city's evidence. Do you want me to contradict the city's evidence?
I've just been waiting for the evidence.
You go contradict
So
it.
it's never come up other than what your verbal statements are. We now have analysis that you're using, auto-related comps. We have 18 of them. What is the average, weighted average, or the median? Have you worked that out?
No.
Have you worked out the range?
No.
Would that not be indicative of an appraisal of a property that you would actually look at the marketplace and work out those three components to see if your analysis is good?
The concept of using averages is actually a violation of terms of standards, because people don't hire appraisers to work out averages.
So the other tax agencies who represent property in the city do the same thing. They come up with an average, a weighted average, median. There's multiple municipal board orders that indicate that's how we're to value it when it gets to the municipal board level. I've done the same thing. I've adopted it. It makes sense. So you're choosing not to use what pretty much an industry standard is.
Absolute falsehood. It's not an industry standard, okay? And you're making statements, not questions. It is a falsehood that is an industry standard. I just told you it violates standards in the valuation industry to rely on means and medians for the pure purpose of establishing value. That's like mass appraisal, and the degree of error on it rises in that case, because then you become statistical analysis, and you got to look at the outliers and make sure you don't have any or they don't range. That's not what an appraisal does. So as to what our competitors or the other agents in this industry do, I can't speak to that.
Or the municipal board?
I'm fairly comfortable the municipal board has decisions on these matters has been fairly consistent and strong. I think that they've understood the proper methodology from the orders I've read. Because you know what? I read the whole document, not just page 23. I read all the way to page 27.
Yeah, I was part of that appeal. I read the whole thing as well. If you're getting back to the original appeal that we had here today. So your range is from $11.32 to $4.75.
This is a range of what is seen in the marketplace.
For that, I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Ms. Rempel, any questions of the appellant?
Yes, I just have one question, and that is, I just want to make sure I understood you correctly when you said that in the Board of Revision decision that you have tabled, the vacancy rate, non-recoverables, and shortfall had also changed?
No. To my knowledge, they hadn't, and I'm making the assumption they had not changed.
Okay.
Because had they changed, I think we would have seen it stated explicitly. I know that Mr. Hutchins sat on it, and I'm all due respect. I don't know if he's going to be able to insert his own experiences sitting on that board, but if he does, that's fine. And I agree with his statements, is that sometimes there are other matters, but in our experience, in the absence of an explicit statement, I think it's a safe assumption that we're dealing generally with caps and rents.
Thank you. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Any questions of the appellant?
I have no questions.
Mr. Neufeld, just to confirm, what is your final value?
250,560.
Okay. and you agree with the occupancy cost, but disagree with the base rent, is that right?
No, actually, it's not air conditioned in the back, but I don't have the number, so I'm not going to change it on you right now.
Any requirement for some, that's all my questions, thank you, Mr. Paul. Any requirements for summary by either party?
No, it's pretty straightforward appeal.
You're good? Jeremy, could I ask you to move a little bit closer to the mic?
Better?
Perfect, thank you.
All right, sorry, I don't want to yell. I think we can all
Oh, no,
hear
that's
here, but
okay.
I don't know if you can hear there.
Thank you. So you're good, Jeremy, and Mr. Newfeld, you're good?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So that concludes 1717 Waverly Street, Unit 520. Next property on the docket is 1717 Waverly. Unit 400. Mr. Cole, when you are ready, please.
Business roll number is 52218. The total annual rental value is $252,300. The total area of the premises is 15,290 square feet, and the total rental rate, the total ARV rate is $16.50. The base ARV rate is again $14.21, the $14 range that we have. With the occupancy cost of $35,050, produced the annual rental value of the $252,300. It is primarily the same argument, same comparables on page 2. We've already discussed, same rationale. You see pictures of the property. It's Kia. And then we also have the same court order that we follow suit. And there was a municipal board order that was filed by Colliers for the 2020 assessment for the realty side. I believe a $14 range is reasonable, is quite under market, but at this point I'm not asking for an increase. I think it's reasonable. I'm going to stick with a model rent at $14.21, and I think $252,300 is a reasonable ARV to assign to the property.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Mr. Newfeld, any questions of the assessor?
Well, I'm assuming the previous round of questions would result in the same answers.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in respect to the rents that you brought, there is a board revision order that changes the adjusted net operating income and changes the cap rate, correct?
On page 5, yes.
And you didn't perform any calculations to see hypothetically how that would affect the rent?
No, and just to be clear, I believe the majority of it, if not all of it, is in the rent, changing of the rent and the cap, obviously. I don't think any other parameters would have been changed. Vacancy is very small. It wouldn't have adjusted all that much, and I don't think vacancy was ever really a big issue. Non-recoverables may have been. I'm not sure. But as I said, when I'm looking at the marketplace in the $18 range, I'm not going to go below a $14 rent that we model.
Now, your rents that you have are, as I understand, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we'll call it a quasi-retail usage.
If that's how you want to phrase it, you can.
No, is that an acceptable term for you, or do you have a
We're
better way?
looking for a similar building of similar utility of the subject property in a retail location.
Okay.
So these buildings here are basically slab on grade, steel frame buildings, bit of build up in the storefront, more a little bit of office space to accommodate what needs to be done for the actual running of the business. So you look out into the marketplace to see where you can get a similar size building, a similar location for retail, and what is there? The next closest to this subject property is a big box type store, slab on grade, steel frame, minimal and minimal development on interior rise. So we know that that level of rent, if these property owners who are owner occupied went out into the marketplace to rent they would have to bear that rent, as anyone else in the marketplace would. So, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, well, the question here isn't what somebody would rent a replacement unit for. The question isn't not what would somebody rent the subject unit for, correct?
We can't tell you that because there simply are no rents.
Well, okay, but
You and I can't say that, otherwise any other agency would have actually come up with an analysis by now.
okay,
Or an actual car dealership.
Is the law, the Municipal Assessment Act states that you're looking at the market value of the subject premise, not the market value of a replacement property across town, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, in the definition of market value, are you familiar with highest and best use?
Correct.
Okay. There's 4 issues in the highest and best use. Now, I just want to talk about one, legal permissibility. You acknowledge that is part of highest and best use?
Correct.
Are any of your comparables legally permitted to be used on the subject site?
As far as you reading into this now, as far as there's an agreement in place that bars anything other than car dealerships, I haven't seen it. I keep hearing about it. I've asked for it. No agent has presented anything of that sort, so I can't comment on what I haven't seen yet.
Well, I'll have to disagree with you because I did present
the condo.
I did present an excerpt in my presentation to the Board of Revision,
Have you submitted it to me?
which I have here. It's in the public domain, but
So you're not submitting it as evidence?
regardless of that,
So then we shouldn't be speaking to it today.
we can speak to it. The allegation has been brought forward that there is a restriction on the titles forbidding anything but car, service, or sales. That is a legal.
Mr. Neufeld, maybe bring that up in your evidence, please.
No, I'm just, the question pertains to his evidence. And my question is, if there is a legal restriction on title restricting the usage to only cars, can any of his comparables be situated and can they rent the subject?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to deal with hypotheticals. I would rather see the evidence in front of me, and I could go through any agreement that would be in place between the city and the dealership. If it indeed is, I'd have to review it in its totality. I'm not going to comment on secondary hearsay.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, point of clarification. Hearsay is only something that somebody else tells you. A hearsay is not a registration on a title. It's out there.
Okay,
Second question, I'll move on.
thank you.
You are aware what the zoning is on this property?
I believe M, if I'm not mistaken.
M2?
Mr. Poe, I'm sorry, but you have to.
M2, I believe.
Thank you.
M2. Does M2 zoning permit the uses for which you brought comparables forward?
I'm taking a real retail marketplace and putting it here. If you're saying there's an issue with all of my comparables based on its zoning at the same point in time, then none of your comparables can be used either. I failed to see the line of questioning in that.
Sorry, you're bringing an argument. I asked you a question. Do you know if any of your comparables would be permitted in M2?
I couldn't tell you. You could ask for a variance. You could. I failed to see the line of questioning in this.
Well, you're not out to boast your case here. It's just a question.
In theory, if it doesn't meet zoning, they can deny it. But in
Thank you.
theory, you can ask for a variance.
Those are my questions.
Thank you, Mr. Neufeld. Mr. Poe, any questions of the assessor?
I'm just wondering, no, I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre.
I have one question relating to the air conditioning. So in this particular record, it's showing, is it the office and showroom that's air conditioned?
Yeah, it's usually the shop in the back that's not air conditioned.
Yeah, in the previous one it was.
I have no information to indicate that it wasn't.
In your experience, is it predominantly not air conditioned in the back?
In my experience, when I've gone out, it's either non-air conditioned, or there is an actual system set up where it's a min-max, where it's only air conditioned to a certain point and not below it. So I couldn't tell you on the last appeal because I haven't been in that building. That's never been a raised point of contention. So
I have to assume that it's air conditioned.
Okay, that was my only question.
Most dealerships and storages have like a min-max where like they only air condition to a certain point. When it gets above a certain temperature, it's not meant for like comfortable office space.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Mr. Pohl, just to confirm your final value, please.
252,300.
252,300?
Yeah.
Is that right? 252,300?
252,300. Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Sorry, you can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I don't want to be yelling in here.
No. Better you yell than, yeah. And my second question is, what is this property?
It's a car dealership.
Our dealership, okay. And we're located on Waverly South, just by Bishop Brandon.
The franchise is
on the
a
west side,
Kia.
east side.
It's a franchise Kia.
GM on the west side of Waverly? GM on the west side of Waverly?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Waverly West, yes.
All right. Okay, that is all my questions. Mr. Neufeld, when you're ready, please.
Thank you. And for just to be clear, I'm speaking very loud. I think you're having a hard time hearing, and I'm adjusting my volume accordingly. I'm not emotional. My wife had a grandmother who lived to be 103, and she was the only one in the family who liked me because I spoke loud so she could hear me.
I appreciate it.
As with the other property, this was heard at Board of Revision. The same panel heard it, made the same decision, and we worked out that number to $1,237 a square foot, which we're asking to be carried forward, and the property owner will decide if, and the city can decide if they wish to appeal that number. But the case was heard, and there's no reason to retry it here, especially considering that we are dealing with the same chair, and I wouldn't expect your decision to be any different because you've rendered it. And I don't mean that in any negative way whatsoever. It's just, this is just a fact of life. If we have a disagreement with it, we now know that there are other avenues for it. In regard to the concept of the title usage and the title restrictions and the zoning restrictions, they're real. This is something that people involved in mass appraisal sometimes forget. Go back to definition of market value, go back to the definition of highest and best use. You can't throw a rent on a property that can't be used on the site. Now, the big box rents, the reason they can go into M2 is they qualify as warehouse. Primary warehouse, secondary accessory uses retail. That's how they do it. And as far as the auto dealers, they're allowed in M2, they're allowed in C3. That's where they're allowed. Otherwise, if they have a grandfather clause in a pre-existing zoning, there are a handful that are in C2, they can operate in C2. But to look at gathering rent on a change in occupancy or change in use, it can't be done. This is why the assessor's whole method is improper. We should really be looking at warehouse rents, anything related to automobile use on this property. And a restriction on title is real. It's in the public domain. That's why they registered on title. You can look it up. Anybody who wants to can go down and pay the $27 charge and get a copy of it, of the caveats from titles that'll clearly state automotive use only. And that doesn't get waived. Can't go to community committee and get a variance. It was designed that way. It's the impact on value. So just be clear that those are real issues. Despite them, I don't think it's fair to represent that they're easily surmountable. They're not. However, the main issue is, cut myself short here, we're moving on. We got a decision, we're looking for a flow through, and we'll make our mind up on what we want to do next. Thank you very much.
Okay, Ms. Newfeld, could I get your final value, please?
Can I not question the fellow?
Yeah, please clarify what the value is, please.
224,190.
Okay.
Sorry
Thank
about that
you.
if I jumped the gun.
Mr. Bull.
Okay. Generally speaking, most of the questions have already been raised and answered in the prior appeal.
Okay.
Same idea, but I'll get to a little bit more in detail. First point, auto dealership on your page 5, your auto dealer rate applied by the Board of Revision. This is for retail, obviously.
No, these are just some samples of what had occurred at the Board of Revision.
Okay. So, who's the tenant at 1424 Region?
Nissan. No, sorry, it's owner occupied.
I asked for who the tenant is.
The tenant, it's owner
So you
occupied.
don't know the tenant.
Oh, there's not a tenant, there's an owner occupant.
Who's the owner occupier?
Vicar Nissan.
Okay, so there's no rent actual there. 950 Regent, who's the tenant or owner occupier?
It's owner occupied by Vicar Mitsubishi.
1900 Main Street,
Owner occupied by Auto Canada.
and I believe we have this under appeal for the 2016 cycle. I believe there was a sale north of $6 million for this property. Have you referenced that sale, or have you investigated that sale?
Sure. Yes, I have.
Have you indicated that that's for land and building only?
It was a share transfer sale involving partial payment cash, partial payment in shares of Auto Canada. It's clearly stated on their financial statements, so it's not a market value, meeting the definition of market value, as well the assets of the goodwill and furniture, fixtures, and equipment went with it.
So to be clear, you were under appeal. You reviewed the sale when we had it under appeal, and it is not for land and building only.
We would call it a value in use,
Fair enough.
not a market value.
1066 Nairn, who's the tenant occupier, owner occupier?
Just a minute here. The owner is a limited company, and the tenant is Focus. I don't know if they're Focus Hyundai anymore. It's a Hyundai dealership.
Are they owner occupied? Are they arm's length?
They are not owner occupied.
What was the contract rent in place on this property?
I don't have that in front of me. It was a rent that was established with the transfer of the dealership on a short-term basis.
1370 Dougal, who was the tenant or owner occupier?
I don't know their exact corporate names. I just know them. The owner is he just passed away actually. He had 3 daughters, and they were all co-owners. And 2 of the husbands of 2 of the daughters are the tenants.
Would it be safe to say that this is an industrial building, an industrial area?
Sorry, I left that on for my legal counsel. My apologies.
Would it be safe to say this is an industrial area at 1370 Dougal?
It is. Dougal's generally an industrial area, and there are a smattering of automotive uses on it. This is for RV sales.
Okay. So, did you handle all of these appeals at the Board of Revision?
Yes.
So, all right. Moving on to my main point, getting back to the restriction on title. I've never seen it. I haven't been presented with it. I've asked for it numerous times. No agent has presented one. I just want to focus on that for a moment. You're saying that due to this agreement in place, only car dealerships can be here.
Well, I object to your classification that you're supposed to be hand-served these documents. They're
I'm just
untitled.
asking for yes or no questions or simple questions.
I'm looking for the exact wording of it. And
So you have it here today, but you didn't submit it as evidence.
well, there's a lot of things I could have submitted as evidence, but we've
You
already
still
dragged
submitted
this
it
on
as
rather
evidence. I
far.
wouldn't object to it. Let me be more direct. Can you please submit as evidence? I'll wait.
How much time will the board give me to look through here? I like to rush myself here, and if you're fine with me taking 10 minutes, I'll find it. If not, I can have somebody email it in right now, and I need 5 minutes for that.
This would be an important point. I would like to see it in its totality.
Mr. Chairman, may I interject here? Well, we lost you, Bob.
Of course.
How relevant is this to the business assessment? Should we debate that?
It's very, sorry. Sorry. I apologize.
Okay, I think we're gonna go in camera here and we'll discuss this amongst the panel members. Michelle, please. Okay, I will now call the hearing back to order. The panel has discussed the evidence presented by both parties here. And you know what? We're just going to consider this point as discussed, and we'll consider the evidence by both parties again. And we'll just leave it at that, okay, Mr. Pohl?
I was leading to a major point, but
We understand. We understand what the point is. We have an understanding of it, okay? So we'll just...
No,
let's just leave it at that.
it's fine that if it's not going to be submitted, I would still like to speak to the point. I'd still like to ask Mr. Newfield some questions on the title. If he's not going to submit it, that's fine, but I'd like to continue on my question.
Yes, of course, yeah. But let's leave the point of the title and restrictions.
Yep.
We understand
Okay.
we've heard it before, and
Yeah.
let's just leave that point, okay, please?
Okay. So there is a title, restrictions on title that says it's vehicle dealership only.
That's correct.
Okay. You stated before that, including my comparisons, that due to the zoning and other uses, that wouldn't be allowed on site, so we can't use that.
No, that's not what I said. I asked you if they could be allowed, and you didn't provide an answer.
You
That
provided
was
it
the
for me
evidence.
saying that it's vehicle dealership only and those uses couldn't be used here. So are you?
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that.
Let me rephrase it. On the title, generally it states vehicle dealership only.
No. It says automotive service and sales only.
Automotive service and sales only, which is typical sales, franchise, and service. So you'll be looking at a franchise dealership, or then maybe less thereof, used car dealership.
Well, used cars are a part of any dealership, so they'd have to be allowed.
What is the primary usage of any one of these individual condo dealerships? Used sales or new sales?
Well, that's
On site.
Yeah, that's there's a variety of different users on site, and there are some that have multi-units and have a secondary facility for used cars and a secondary facility for body shops. There are standalones that incorporate all in one, and then there are connected ones who will do some storage off-site and but some body shop off-site. So there's no predominant description.
So we bracketed down to full service dealerships maybe less than of used dealerships that are somehow related to a full-service dealership.
There's automotive service and sales related.
Okay, so that means, based on that restriction of title, that wipes out any retail argument, and that wipes out any industrial argument, period.
No, it requires, the word wiping out is rather...
You cannot use economic substitution to bring in any other marketplace other than that. What's the title
Okay,
restriction?
hold.
Wipeout is...
I'm going to cut it off here. We understand both sides of the argument. Let's move on to a different question, please. Line of question.
The chairman wishes. That's all the questions I have.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Rempel, any questions of the appellant?
I just want to confirm that you agree with the former board hearings decision, and that the market value you're agreeing with is 2483000.
Sorry, 248.
2,483,000.
Oh, that value.
That's your position today?
No, my position is whether we agree with it or not. I believe we've appealed this to the municipal board, but I'm not asking for a change from what here today from that value for business, because I understand that the board has spoken and this is the number they've provided. I'm not anticipating a different response to the same question. If we disagree with it and wish to appeal it further, then of course that's our right. But as for today, it goes back to that same thing. Why you don't go back to the same people and ask for a different number after they've already told you once what their number is. This is what you told us last time.
Okay, just as a point of clarification, I was not on the board
I understand.
last time.
I understand. And neither was Mr. McIntyre.
Right.
It's a policy and fairness all I'm thinking about right now, and unless there was something really absurd that happened. And we have changed our numbers when, for example, if we didn't have time for an inspection, was one property we found which was basically loft warehouse that had been classified as almost office. And then in cases like that, we'll say, no, this was entirely wrong, and restart it.
Thank you. I'm done.
Oh, we lost.
Sorry, is that good, Ms. Rempel?
That's it for me, thank you.
Thank you. Brent, any questions?
I have no questions.
Okay. Mr. Neufeld, 2 questions. So is there a pending municipal board on this hearing, on this property, pardon me? Mr. Cole, would you know?
Yes, Collier's filed it.
Yes, I did file one.
Okay, thank you. And my second question, Mr. Neufeld, you're asking for 224190.
That's correct.
And that's not divisible by 12, so we need another number, please.
Somebody left their scientific calculator here. Oh no. I get 224184.
Okay.
As a humorous aside, we had ran into the same issue yesterday, and the assessor went up and I went down, and I gave in because I said the city was 30 million short. We're just going to throw in a few dollars there.
Okay, all right. So that concludes 1717 Waverly Street, Unit 400. And I believe, Mr. Neufeld, that concludes your properties today on the docket.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you for appearing, and we shall have our decisions up to you as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. Neufeld.
Thank you.
And we're going to recess for 7 minutes, please.
7 minutes?
Okay.
Thank you. I will now call the hearing back to order. Next property on the docket is 1700 Waverly Street, Unit A, VA number 34317, file number 19-5731. Michelle, could you swear in Mr. Sikowski, please?
Can you state your full name, please?
Russ Sikowski.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thanks, Michelle. Mr. Pohl, when you are ready, please.
Sure. Business roll number is 34317. Address is 17A Waverly. We have a total annual rental value of $488,100, a total area of 36,740 for an overall rate of $13.29. If you look at the line below that, our base ARV is $11.05. And then the occupancy cost added on to the base ARV of $82,152 produces the $488,100. Again, owner occupied, as they all are. Same argument we heard prior today. Same comparables on the next page. On page 3 is the subject property. So. And the order, which is for the realty, is on page 4. So there was a border revision for the realty, and the order is as such. So with that, I'm open to questions.
Thank you, Mr. Pohl. Mr. Sikowski, questions of the assessor?
I have no questions.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel?
I have no questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre?
I just have one. Jeremy, on the brief it says owner occupied, no, and there's subject lease information.
No, that's wrong. This is owner occupied. I don't know why we populate that. I missed that. I must have not deleted it. I apologize. That's a typo on the brief.
What twigged me was the no lease end date.
Because there's no lease.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Believe me, I'd catch one if there was one, but there isn't any.
That's my only question.
Sorry,
Thank you, Brandon. Mr. Pohl, any pending municipal board from the realty?
Fair taxes filed. We have not filed. Or sorry, we have filed. My mistake. I misread my notes. We filed for this one.
Okay.
Fair tax did not file. So it's
And what was the 2020 realty board revision decision?
It's on. I've included them all. It's on the last page of every brief.
Okay, in summary, please.
The decision is based on the evidence presented by the applicant. The value went from $5,391,000 down to $4,715,000.
And any reasoning for that?
Just the details that were given. I couldn't make out.
Okay.
My understanding is after going through all these, it's pretty much cap and rent. I don't think the 5% argument of non-recoverables would have really made a difference one way or another for these.
Yeah, the decisions don't detail the reason over that. I think that's fair to say, right? Sometimes, but most of the time. Okay, thank you. Mr. Sitkowski, when you're ready, please.
Yes, thank you. So I'm just going to refer to the board revision order for the realty appeal. So it does indicate that the assessment was reduced to $4,715,000 based on the evidence presented by the applicant. And what I've done on the last page of my presentation, I did a workup here, and it's to arrive at the $4,715,000. You see on the workup on the last page, you see the parameters that were used. So the rent was $11.05, capped at 7.5%. Works out to that assessment. So in short, because our rent works out to $11.05 per square foot, and that is what the current rent base ARV that is used by the department is $11.05. I have no arguments with respect to this particular one.
Okay. Mr. Pohl, any questions?
Sorry, maybe I missed that. So for this appeal, what is the number you're seeking?
Well, I'm not seeking any change. It's based on the $11.05 per square foot that you use for the ARV.
Okay, so you're just asking for 54.1?
I'm sorry?
Are you asking for confirmation? Or?
Yes.
Okay, so just for confirmation, the current business assessment is $480,100. Mr. Pohl?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. I don't think that's divisible by 12. Unless I made a mistake. No.
Bear with me here.
Okay.
I'll catch up with you.
Mr. Chairman, I have actually one question that I'd ask of the assessor.
Sorry, let's just let me. Sorry, what was that, Jeremy?
It is divisible by 12. So
Evenly or?
evenly, if you divide by 12, it's 40,675. So did I get that wrong? I don't think so. I'll do it again just to make sure.
Yeah. I'm not getting it as even, I don't know.
Maybe. Which number are you using, Bob?
480,100.
No, it's 488,100.
Ah, there we go. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sitkowski had a question. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Pohl, so this, as we all agree, this was an appeal, or the realty was an appeal, and so when one uses the rate of $11.05 per square foot, arrive at the value that's shown on page 4 of my brief. So was that rental rate changed after the appeal to for the BA to reflect the $11.05 that was decided upon at the board?
No, I didn't change any of the model rates. I'm not sure. Like all I have to go from is what the board ordered. I'm not sure what if it was cap only, if it's cap and rental.
Okay. Probably just cap. Okay, that's the only question I have.
Okay. So, Mr. Sitkowski, to confirm you are accepting the value at $488,100.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Brent, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Ms. Merkel?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that concludes 1700 Waverly Street, Unit A. Next property on the docket is 1700 Waverly Street, and we're going to Unit B. Mr. Paul, when you are ready, please.
Business assessment ID number is 919. The total annual rental value is $200,280. The total area is $13,955 for a total rental rate with occupancy of $14.35. The next line down, our base ARV is $12.03 for our base ARV of $167,879. Our total occupancy costs are $32,429. Total together is $200,280. As one of the panel members already pointed out, there is a typo on this brief. The next line down is subject lease information owner occupied. It says no, it is owner occupied. I'm going to have to fix that as we go back. I'm not sure why I keep populating it. I apologize, I didn't catch that. There is no lease in this place, or in place for a tenant in the subject property. So we look on the next page. There is a board order for the realty for the 2020 cycle, the board of revision. We filed a municipal board appeal on this property. The reduction was from $2,232,000 down to $1,953,000. And the details are the decision is based on the evidence presented by the applicant. As much as I can go into it. The next page over is the brief. And that's just showing our rental rates that we had in place for the same. Comparables are basically the same. And the INE that was submitted. So at the end of that is the submission on following our brief for the realty is the fair tax, their submittal for the realty, which indicates that they asked for a $12 rate. So that's what we're looking at today. So we're at 1203, they're at 12. Occupancy costs all the same. I don't think there should be a reduction. It must have been just a gap.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Mr. Sitkowski, any questions?
No questions.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre?
I have no question.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. And I have no questions either. Mr. Sitkowski, when you're ready, please.
Yes, so we're asking for just a slight decrease in the basic ARV from $12.03 to $12 per square foot. And that is, again, that would be based on the decision, the board decision for the realty assessment, and that decision was based on the evidence presented by the applicant. And on page 4 of my brief, that is the workup that was presented at the board hearing, using a rate of $12 per square foot, capitalization rate of 7.5% to arrive at the value that of $1,953,000, which is the value that the board reduced it to. So we're asking, in short, we're asking for an adjustment to the base ARV from $12.03 to $12, to bring it in line with the decision made by the board of revision for the realty appeal. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Cole, any questions?
No, I don't have any.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre?
I have no questions.
Okay. So, Mr. Sitkowski, what is you agree with the occupancy cost? What is your revised value?
So we're looking at $199,889. I hadn't divided it by 12, so I'm not sure what that would be if you divide it by 12.
Okay.
So on page 2 of the brief.
So you're asking for 190.
Yeah, there's a very marginal.
But revised to divisible by 12.
Yeah, and if it works out to the same when you divide it by 12, then
Yeah.
so be
Okay.
it.
All right. Okay, so that concludes 1700 Waverly Street, Unit B. Next property on the docket is 1700 Waverly Street, Unit C. VA roll number VA 34159. Mr. Poole, when you are ready, please.
Sure. Business assessment roll number is 3459. The total annual rental value is $252,120. The total area of the premise is 15,743. The overall rate is $16.01. If we look at the line below, we have a base ARV of $13.74, which produced $216,309. An occupancy cost that total $35,834 for the total annual rental value of $252,120. Again, please disregard the typo. This is an owner-occupied property. There is no lease in place. On the following page is the 2020 Board Revision Order for the realty. Again, the decision is based on the net operating income presented by the applicant with a capitalization rate of 7.75. Attached is that realty brief from the board, from the Assessment Taxation Department. As you can see, the property. If we follow through with that, we have the same comparable sheet on page 6 as we've been looking at all throughout today. I.e. that is attached. And then on the back 2 pages, the brief that was submitted by the agent Fair Tax for the realty. And they were using $12. So it looks to me they asked for $2,032,000, and they got a little above that. So looks like the board put in $12. I'm not sure if it was the 5% for management or whatnot, or just the cap rate that was also included. So, anyways. We did file an appeal on this property, moving forward to the 2020, for the 2020 realty value at the municipal board. We do not agree with a $12 rent. We're maintaining the value at the $13.74 base RV rate with the appropriate occupancy costs. So, with that, I'm open to questions.
Mr. Poole, Mr. Sitwinski, any questions?
I have no questions.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre?
I have no questions.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Poole, so your base rent is $13.74. Your total value is $252,120.
Correct.
Okay. And 2020 Realty Board Revision appeal. The board revision revised it to $12 a square foot. And you disagree with that assessment, and you filed there's a pending municipal board filed by the department.
Correct.
On that, based on that realty decision.
Correct. And if you look at that's what I was kind of getting at there. Because I have a workup to go with, and the board order was more explicit, net operating income presented by the applicant with a cap rate to what it was. We know that management was included or taken off of, because that was kind of the argument, the 5%, as well as the rental rate change.
Thank you. That's my only questions. Mr. Sitkowski, when you're ready, please.
Yes, thank you. So essentially the argument is the same as previous arguments. The board made a decision for the realty appeal. They used rent at $12 per square foot to arrive at the value, at the realty value of $2,098,000. I would like this panel to also apply $12 per square foot for the BA appeal. And that is essentially my argument.
Okay. I'll butt in here right now. So you're accepting the occupancy costs. What is your new revised business assessment?
I didn't do my division. So based on page 2, it's $224,750.
Okay. So just to confirm, 224750.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pohl, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Rempel?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre?
I have no questions.
Thank you. And I have no questions either. Thank you. That concludes 1700 Waverly Street, Unit C. Next property on the docket is 1717 Waverly Street, Unit 800. And that is PA number 34159. Mr. Pohl, when you are ready, please.
Unit 800, 1770 Waverly. Business assessment ID number is 34158. The total annual rental value is $321,780. The total area of the premise is 22,709 square feet, and the total overall rate is $14.17. The next line down, we have a base ARV of $266,149, which is based on $11.72 square foot rate, with our occupancy costs totaling $55,637. Our total annual rental value is $321,780. $321,780. Again, this is an owner-occupied property. Ignore the typo in the brief. If we turn to the next page, we have a Board of Revision decision from the 2020 Realty Appeal. The decision is based on the Assessment and Taxation Department's workup, which is on the following pages. So there was no reduction here. I believe there was a 54-1 request. So I'm not sure if this was actually heard. Just the request was made. So, and then same comparable that we've been dealing with all day at the back of the brief. We have an average rate of $18.86, weighted average of $18.05, and median of $18.29 for 27 comparables. So we have a very tight analysis. With that, $321,780 is reasonable. I think it should be maintained today.
Thank you, Mr. Pohl. Mr. Sikowski, any questions of the assessor's evidence?
If you don't mind, just give me a second here.
Of course. Maybe I'll ask Mr. Pohl for clarification while you're looking there. Mr. Sikowski. So your ARV is, Mr. Pohl, $11.72. 72, okay. And just to confirm, the realty assessment was confirmed by the 54-1 request by the appellant?
Yes, from what the notes indicate.
Pardon me?
From what the notes indicate, I wasn't there, I wasn't part of the appeal,
okay.
But it looks like it was just a 54-1 request by the appellant and the actual other person.
Okay, fair. Thank you.
Apologize, I was looking at my wrong.
No, you go ahead, Les. Okay.
Yeah. We're looking at unit 800.
Okay.
That's correct.
And you're using a base rate of $13.75 per square foot?
No, $11.72. We're on a file number 196025.
Apologize, I'm just got my files mixed up here. Yeah, on this particular one, I have no questions. And no questions now.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Rempel, any questions of the assessor?
No, thank you.
You, Mr. McIntyre?
I have no questions.
Thank you. Okay, and I have no questions either. Mr. Sitkowski, when you're ready, please.
Well, with respect to this particular one, we accept the value as presented by the assessor.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Moore, any questions?
No. No.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre?
I have no questions.
Okay. Ms. Rempel?
No questions, thank you.
And I have no questions either. That concludes 1717 Waverly Street, Unit 800. Okay. Next property on the docket is 1717 Waverly Street, Unit 900. And that is BA number 34095. Mr. Pohl, when you are ready, please.
BA roll number 34095. Total annual rental value is $471,060. The total area of the premise is 29,076 square feet. The overall rate applied is $16.20. The base ARV is $399,795. The rate is $13.75. The occupancy costs are $71,236 for the total annual rental value of $471,060. And it is owner occupied. Here, I got that one. Sorry.
Excellent with that.
I missed 3. I'm sorry. Sometimes miss. The next order, the 2020 order is on the following page for the realty. The decision was based on the evidence presented by the Assessment and Taxation Department, so again, no change, but it does look like it was another 54-1 request. The following pages of the realty order that came along, or realty brief that came along with the order. And the comparables are on the last page as well. Same comparables that we've been dealing with all day, so I won't get into them again. With that, I think $471,060 is reasonable for assessed value. If there is any questions, I'm open to questions.
Thank you, Mr. Pohl. Mr. Sitkowski, any questions?
No questions.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre?
No questions.
Ms. Rempel?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pohl, just to confirm, is it 461060 or 471?
471060.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions. Mr. Sitkowski, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as this property or the realty assessment was appealed and the board confirmed the assessment, I have no arguments with respect to this one. I accept the value of $471,060.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Mr. Pohl?
No questions.
Mr. McIntyre?
I have no questions.
Ms. Rempel?
No questions.
And I have no questions either. Thank you. That concludes 1717 Waverly Street, Unit 900. Next property in the docket is 1717 Waverly Street, Unit 700. And that would be a number 35149. Mr. Pohl, when you're ready, please.
Business assessment ID number is 35149. The total annual rental value is $431,820. The total premise is $26,477. Overall rental rate with occupancy costs obviously is $16.31. The line below that shows the base ARV for $366,971, which is a base ARV rental rate of $13.86. The total occupancy cost is $64,869. So added up, the total annual rental value is $431,820. Again, this is an owner-occupied property. Ignore the typo. Same idea is the last few appeals. It was confirmed that the order revision for the 2020 realty assessment, it looks like it was 54-1 request by the appellant. The following pages are partial of what the brief was submitted by the assessor. And then same idea towards the last page. We have the rental comparables as marketplace evidence for the marketplace would be. So at $13.86 a square foot, I think it's reasonable, which again produced the value of $431,820. So I think at that point, I think we should have the assessment maintained.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Mr. Sitkowski, any questions?
No questions.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre?
And I have no questions.
And I am good for myself, thank you. Mr. Sitkowski, any presentation or comments?
As the previous one, this one was confirmed. This property was confirmed at the realty appeal, and the value was maintained. And so, as a result, I have no arguments to make with respect to the BA appeal, and so we accept the value as presented by the assessor.
Thank you very much. Any questions for anybody? Mr. Cole, you good?
I'm good. No questions.
Mr. McIntyre?
No questions.
Ms.
I
Rempel?
just have one question. It's a minor point, but I thought that the assessor indicated the value was $431,820. Is that correct? And the applicant in his brief indicates it's $431,840.
Okay, I didn't round it off again.
Okay.
I'm agreeing to the base ARV of a 1386.
Okay.
Is that good, Ms. Rempel?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So that, and I have no questions, so that concludes 1770 Waverly Street, Unit 700. Okay, next property in the docket is 1717 Waverly Street, Unit 680. And that's BAID 920. Mr. Cole, when you are ready, please.
Total annual rental, if I can speak today clearly, the total annual rental value is $694,020. The total area is $43,621. The overall rental rate applied is $15.91. Below that shows the breakdown, how we get to that value. Base ARV is $587,139 with a rental rate of $13.46 a square foot. Occupancy costs are $106,871, which adds up to the total value of annual rental value of $694,020. This one is owner occupied, as they all are. On the next page is the order for the 2020 realty appeal. The decision was based on net operating income, adjusted net operating income, and a capitalization rate of 7.25. The following pages are the brief that was submitted by the assessment department for the property. You can see pictures of the property on the following page.
comparables are the same that we've been using all throughout the cycle. In the $18 range. So based on that, a $13.46 model rent, I think, is appropriate and easily defendable. And I think the value at $694,020 should be maintained today. I'll open to questions.
Thank you, Mr. Pohl. Mr. Sitkowski, any questions?
Mr. Pohl, I'm not going to be arguing the value, but I just wanted to ask you the decision that you included, the Board of Revision decision for the realty, that's for a different property. We're dealing with a Unit 680, and you included a decision for Unit 600.
No, this one here, there's 2 business roll numbers on this roll. One second here. Apologize, I think I did do that. Either way, the rent comparables are the same comparables used throughout the entire cycle. So the decision is the right.
Yeah, so I'm sure there was no. I don't think there was any decision. Well, this one wasn't in
Sorry,
appeal.
I apologize. I put the wrong order on, the wrong realty file on. But
So
again,
was Unit 680 appealed? I don't believe it was appealed. The actual unit that we're dealing with right now.
can I get maybe a couple-minute recess just to review? Is that all right?
Mr. Pohl, you need a couple of minutes?
Yeah, just a few minutes, 5 minutes.
To do what?
I just want to discuss with the agent, because you'd be representing 680 as well.
Well, that's what we're dealing with, 680.
No, but you represented 600.
So you would like to recess so you can
Yeah.
go out in the hallway and discuss
Yeah.
the value with the
Please.
appellant?
Please.
Okay, all right. We will recess until the appellants have had time to discuss the value. Thank you. Okay, Michelle, can we...
Hold on a second.
Okay, I will now call the hearing back to order. Mr. Pohl, after meeting with the appellant, any comments?
Just to clarify, I put the wrong order in. Appears I put the wrong order in for a different unit.
Okay,
Attached to that is the realty for the order, so it's not the same being that we deal with now. But the comparables that were used within that realty brief are the same standard comparables that we've used.
all right.
So the evidence is the same as far as rental rate.
Right.
But the order itself is for a different property. And I just wanted to confirm with the appellant that the tax agent didn't appeal the subject property for the realty for unit 920, which is occupied. They did not. So there is no realty decision for that order. So we don't have anything to review for that matter. Same realty rental rate, I should say rental rate for the realty argument applies here today. We have a $13.46 rent attached to 43,000 square feet of some odd space. That's a reasonable rental rate considering the marketplace is hovering around $18. So with that said, we feel that the $694,020 is reasonable, and
the marketplace evidence that we have is the same throughout, so it's well supported.
Okay, so just to confirm, we should remove that board order as...
Yes, and that's what I was getting at. I just wanted to confirm that that there wasn't another existing order that I was unaware of, so.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sitkowski, any questions of the assessor?
No, I mean, we actually did agree that there was a wrong order included. I don't have any more questions of the assessor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Rempel, any questions of the assessor?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre?
I have no questions.
Thank you. And I have no questions. Mr. Sitkowski, when you're ready, please.
Well, because of this confusion, I'd like to amend my brief and ask for a base ARV reduction to $11.72 per square foot, which would equal the amount for units 800 on 1717 Waverly. So,
sorry. Okay, right now we're dealing with 680. Going back to another hearing we did already?
No, it's a hearing. We actually heard this property earlier during this hearing.
Number 7.
Number 800, Waverly, 1717, unit 800.
We're dealing with unit 680 right now.
No, I understand that. So I would like to amend the brief to read $11.72 a square foot times 34,343, whatever. And so I'd like to amend the rate that we were originally included in the brief.
Okay.
And I'd like to amend that from 1362 to 1172.
Okay, so what value are you looking for unit 680 that we're doing?
Yeah, well, just give me a second. I'm going to try to figure this out. So the base ARV would be 402,499 plus the cost to occupy of 84,000 plus 84,140 goes 486,639. 639. So that's what I'm asking, 486,639.
Okay. Obviously not divisible by 12, but okay, we can round it off. Okay. Mr. Cole, any questions of the appellant?
I have no questions.
Pardon me?
I have no questions, sorry.
Okay. Ms. Rempel, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. McIntyre?
I have a question. Les, on your brief, you're showing 34,343 square feet. The assessor is showing 43,621 square feet. That's a problem.
Okay, you're right, that is a problem. Let me just double check.
Can I make a suggestion to the panel? Just so we make sure that...
To the chairman, sorry, you're over there and not here anymore. My head always goes this way. I've been trained over the years to look straight. Can I go back to the office place since we're so close? It'll only take a few minutes to review, just to make sure that we get this correct. I don't want to have any error moving forward on this appeal. I brought in the wrong realty file. There seems to be a difference in square foot area
that we have for the appellant versus ours. Let me go back, review it quick, confirm everything. The rental rates won't, the evidence won't change. The evidence is the same package that we presented. I just want to make sure we get the numerical file number, subject property, and the areas correct. After that, it's just a bit of mathematics for the panel to decide on, or for me to verify what it is.
So you want to return to the office to confirm the actual
Yeah,
square footage?
like this hearing went pretty quick, like it's 11:28. Want to have a recess for 20 minutes? I could probably be back here and still be finished by lunchtime or shortly after lunchtime.
Can you not access that from your computer from here, like if you log in remotely?
I prefer to go back and review my files at work. I'm not sure.
Mr. Bull, can you just phone somebody to confirm the data?
Not on my desktop, no.
But somebody can look up the roll number and confirm the square footage, that's what you're...
Could I interject, please, if you don't mind? I do have a printout of this premises, and it does clearly state, if you'd like to take a look. So the square footage that I show on my brief is the square footage that's on that printout.
Is there 2 tenants on this property? No, single tenant, right?
I believe so, yes.
I would prefer to take a bit of a recess and just make sure I get all the data correct on my end. I can take this and review it just to make sure, bring it back.
Sure.
Rarely does this kind of mistake happen on my end, so I want to make sure that I just get it correct for the appellant's sake and my role here.
Yeah, so what's the difference in the square footage we're dealing with right now?
Quite a bit.
Enough that we need to verify.
No, but Ms. Bull, what is your square footage right now?
43,000 square feet approximately.
Okay, and Mr. Sitkowski is at, I believe, 34,000?
34,343.
It's about 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Would you mind if I just, would you like to?
Well, Mr. Bull, can't you just phone the office and get the roll number and square footage?
Yeah, if that's what that's what you would prefer.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
so we'll recess for 10 minutes
Sure.
or less. Yeah, we'll say 10 minutes.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry. Take that page.
Oh, I gave it to you. No.
Just 1 second here. It's so small.
Are we good, Michelle?
Just a sec.
Okay.
Go.
Okay, I think I will call the hearing back to order. So, Mr. Pohl, after that investigation, would you mind for the record explain what's happening here?
Okay, so pre-COVID, we were dealing with preparing for briefs. Some of these briefs were prepared in advance. Timeline was kind of iffy as we went along through this. On June 4th, 2020, we put, for the realty side, 9,270 square foot car wash onto the dealership. So that is the area increase from the 34,343. We should not be using the 43,621 square foot for the value today. It should be the original, because we would have a supplemental assessment coming for the realty, and we'd have a secondary supplemental assessment coming for the business assessment.
Yes,
So
okay.
we got to readjust the numbers to reflect a 34,343 square foot dealership. So,
Okay.
so the same rental rate would apply for $13.46. From a model standpoint, it would probably go up a little bit based on the square foot being smaller. I'm fine with $13.46 a square feet, but it appears that it should be in relationship to 34,343 square feet. And then once they get a chance to appeal their notice of supplemental assessment, they can appeal at 43,621 square foot size.
Yeah, so what is the current roll value?
The current roll value is $694,020, but again, that's based on what appears to be the incorrect size of the building.
Right, so the roll is going to be 9,270 square feet less, reflecting approximately 9,300 square feet in occupancy costs plus base rent, right?
Yeah.
So is the roll, could you work out that number and we'd have to confirm if
That's what I was just
that would be the official roll value?
Just to help you out, I used the original square footage.
Just give me like a couple minutes to run the number.
Of course, yeah, go ahead. Michelle, would you agree with that the rules should be reflecting not the supplementary value, but the original square footage and occupancy cost?
The only issue I have is that I'm not able to change what's on the roll right now and under appeal.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Okay, so 551,880 is what's in the system right now, that's being appealed. I'm not able to change that figure.
What number are you showing?
551,880.
I think that's.
Well, that's the official roll for 551,880.
That's based on the 34,343
I
square
don't
feet.
know, that's what,
Say
all
that.
I see is what the,
Please say that number again.
551,880.
Yeah. Okay, bear with me for 1 minute. I gotta run.
Right here.
Okay, but yeah, okay. So it would have been at $13.62 a square foot rental rate with the original area.
1316?
1362.
1362, okay.
So that'd be right.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mr. Poe, you're sitting at 1362 ARV, and Mr. Sitkowski, you're asking for 1172, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And just for clarification's sake to the board, what we're really seeing is reduced, like we have that under roll, right? Okay, so from our standpoint, I guess now it's maintained at 551,880. That's based on the 1362 and appropriate occupancy cost, which the appellant has provided in his information here. The evidence is the same comparable sheet at around $18 a square foot, which all our comparables average about. So there shouldn't be a reduction from what we already have on file at 551,880 square, right? $551,880. Apologize for the confusion. I guess there's a hiccup every now and again, and there was one here today.
And, okay, just to review, and Mr. Sitkowski, you are requesting 1172, which equals total business assessment of 486,639 unrounded.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Jeremy, did you ask questions of Mr. Sitkowski yet?
No, we already talked enough where we figured out what happened, so.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Mr. McIntyre, any questions?
I have no questions.
Okay. Ms. Rempel, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Are we clear here? What's being requested by each party and why?
I'm hoping.
Okay, any requirement for summary by either party?
No.
Any requirement of summary by either party?
No. No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that concludes 717 Waverly Street, Humor 680, and that concludes our hearing today. Thank you both for hearing. And Mr. Sitkowski will get or both parties will get our decisions as soon as possible. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend, guys.
Thank you. Every now and again, a little one.
It happens.
Stress doesn't.
Okay, have a great day.
You too.
Yeah, you too, thank you.